Hello everybody, my name is Lavanya and welcome to my channel, The Vulcan Talks. History repeats itself, or like Mark Twain says, it rhymes. Be that as it may, Afghanistan certainly has a very complex history. And that's our topic for today. We will know the recent history of Afghanistan, that is through 1960s till today. Let's start. All this starts in late 1960s and early 70s. Sardar Muhammad Daud Khan. He's an autocratic ruler of Republic of Afghanistan until he is assassinated in a coup arranged by People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, PDPA. Mind you, I'm just starting with the series of coups here. Nur Muhammad Taraki is a leader of Khalq Party. Khalq Party is one of the branches of PDPA. He takes over the presidency and he also is assassinated in just a year and a half by the orders of Hafizullah Amin, who is also one of the fellow member of Khalq Party. Hafizullah Amin takes over the presidency and he too is assassinated shortly by the orders of Soviet Special Forces. Later, the presidency goes to Babar Kamal. Now he's leading the government. And all this is happening with the support of Soviets. Now, what was in it for Soviets, you ask? Soviets saw it from a different point of view altogether. Their intent was to build strategic relations with the Middle East. And that's where Afghanistan played a very key role. And it's just not that, their intent was to also change Afghanistan into a communist regime. And this was the factor which sort of didn't sit well with a particular section of Afghanistan. Because to them, communism means going against Islam. And these small pockets of Afghanis who were against communist regime, they later grew and came to be known as Mujhadeen. These guerrilla troops were very strong, especially in certain provinces such as Kunar, Panjshir, where Amrullah Saleh is currently based at, and Kandahar, Ghazni, etc. That's to name a few. In total, there were 6 main Mujahideen groups, and these groups were formed based on their local ethnicity. These groups were led by few well-known names such as Gulbuddin Hekmatyar. Strangely, the content that I referred to, the various journals, articles, books, etc. I found it very surprising that a mention of a commander-in-chief of Hezb-e Islami named Kashmir Khan was hardly mentioned, or there was no mention of him at all. So I thought I'll bring it up. Afghan-Soviet war went on for a decade and came to an end in 1989, and so did the communist government. The last president under communist regime was Najibullah, who was brutally executed. Soviets are gone. Mujahideens take over. What happens next? Utopia? Oh no, far from that. These Mujahideens, few commanders of Mujahideen groups, they suddenly turn into warlords and they start ruling the roost over certain parts of the country. When these commanders, warlords, turned their guns on each other, innocent civilians had to pay the price with their lives, like it always happens, right? Seeing them go reckless, one of the former Mujahideens, Mullah Salam Abdul Zaif, partnered with the fellow Mujahideen to form a very strong force, strong enough to confront these reckless warlords. And hence, in 1994, Taliban was formally founded under the leadership of Mullah Omar and Abdul Ghani Baradar. After dismantling the warlords, Taliban go on to create Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. They implement very oppressive, very strict policies, especially for women. They ban TV and other sources of entertainment. It is important to understand that Taliban comprises of various factions of Afghanistan. 40% of Afghanistan has a strong base of Pashtuns spread in the southern part of the country. And this forms a major section of Taliban. Taliban is predominantly Pashtuns. Up north, there are few non-Pashtun factions led by well-known names such as Abdul Malik Pahalwan, Abdul Rashid Dostum, and Ahmad Masood. And these three factions formed a northern alliance. Let's fast forward to 2001. Under the leadership of Osama bin Laden, al-Qaeda is responsible for 4 coordinated series of attacks in the United States of America. We all know those attacks as 9/11 attacks. Now, what role does Taliban play here? Taliban was aiding al-Qaeda. In fact, all al-Qaeda's training camps or training groups was based at Afghanistan. US demanded Taliban to hand over all al-Qaeda personnel. Taliban refused. US attacked Afghanistan. You remember I spoke about Northern Alliance, the non-Pashtun groups? US takes their help just to bring out al-Qaeda. And there are many battles fought in this course of time, and one of the significant battles is of Mazar-e-Sharif. So I'll leave a link in the description box if you'd like to watch the live combat, the documentary that was shot of the live combat. Bin Laden somehow slips into Pakistan, but US special forces catch him eventually. Well, let's switch our attention back to Taliban now. Its regime has come to an end, but US still decided to stay back. But why? The reason behind US staying back was to form a stable government in the country. And this objective was as per the NATO-led military service called as International Security Assistance Force, or ISAF. And alongside US, many other countries formed an international coalition, a broader effort to rebuild the country. In this democratic government of Afghanistan, both the presidents, Karzai and Ghani, were handpicked by US. Just the way how Soviets picked the presidents in the communist regime. Remember Hafizullah Amin and Taraki? Same way. And in fact, it's also said that Abdullah, the second election that happened, Abdullah was supposed to be winning the election, but somehow the elections were rigged in favor of Ghani. The democratic government is pretty much settled in, but yet Taliban manages to overthrow the government. And how did that happen? There are many factors. There are few main reasons which I'll cover. Very interesting part. How did Taliban manage to overthrow a democratically elected government? There are many reasons, but 3 main reasons are: number 1, with the international funds coming in, there was no difference in the state's economy. Poor people kept getting poorer, whereas the rich people kept getting richer. The warlords that I spoke about in 1990s, before Taliban took control, they were given the government positions. They are now declared government officials. Not only did they take a good percentage out of cross-border commerce, but they also took a good share from the international funding. Second main reason was the absence of security and law enforcement structure. There was a lack of state judges and few handful of policemen who were there. They were poorly paid and hence prone to corruption, obviously. And third main reason, speaking of ANA or Afghan National Army, despite of being well trained, they lacked so much in command and control, so much so that they couldn't operate independently. And all these factors are said to have created a big vacuum which emboldened Taliban to sort of create or run a parallel administration altogether. Well, with Taliban in control now, We really do not know how things will unfold. What future holds for Afghanistan, I think time will tell. Well, with that, we come to an end of yet another segment. If you like this video, please do not forget to click like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please do take care of yourselves. Namaste.